Hi folks, Carlton from the Pharmacy Seeds Network. I just listened to the Advancing Eco-Agriculture's Regenerative Agriculture podcast on YouTube today, episode 99. Dr. White was on. What a wonderful discussion and a lot of new and very useful and powerful information. So I highly recommend you go take a listen.
Questions haven't I asked? What important conversations should we be having that I've missed following up on?
Well, I think you've done pretty well. What else should I say? Let's see.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask the question this way. What other things are you working on, or what other highlights have you observed that we haven't yet talked about?
You know what I enjoy? And the reason I keep doing these presentations and talking to people is that I enjoy supporting the regenerative agriculture community. And I think that we have most of our science is focused on agriculture and agriculture funding, right, big ag, right, and our chemical approach to agriculture. And it seems to me that there's a big need to have some science supporting regenerative agriculture. And I feel good, and I think it's an important function, an important role for me going forward to support the regenerative ag community and to do research that helps, to teach, helps with understanding how things are working, right? So people have a clear understanding of how microbes and plants work together, how endophytes work in plants, where plants are getting, how they're getting nutrients from these microbes. I think that's important for people to understand. And to be able to teach it, John, to go out and share that information with people who really need it. And regenerative agriculture people, organic agriculture people, really need that information. Because there's a huge world of data that's coming for years and years that reflects, chemical agriculture and supports that. It's just that it's not complete. It's not correct. It's not 100% correct. And I think that for us to change the way we're approaching agriculture, the damage that we're doing to the environment, it really is going to take a massive education program, right? Massive education program. That's what you're trying to do. That's what I am trying to do, is to try to educate people. And I think that this may be a useless activity, but I don't think so. I'm hopeful. I see people as reasonable, and that when people understand what's actually happening in plants, they'll start thinking about it, and they'll start changing. Maybe not completely, not 100%. Not just give up chemical agriculture, but reduce it significantly to try to take on some of these other be more proactive at using microbiology and soil health.
But that brings me to another point. Because every one of those discussions gets me thinking and excited about regenerative agriculture. And it got me thinking about what we're doing here in the grow lab versus what we're doing outside. And I thought I better go over some comparisons between the two, because while the core concepts, principles, and practices of regenerative agriculture and nutrient-dense systems and biologically rich systems apply pretty much fundamentally the same whether we're in a lab environment like this, an artificial culture environment like this, or out in nature, it's a very different method of achieving the same goal. So there are many subtle differences that might not be very intuitive right off. But just to help you understand the core concept, what we're talking about here is this is a mixed soil. This is nothing like what we go out and get in nature, right? So here we're trying to replicate what nature provides us out there. Out in nature, we take what she provides, and she provides a lot of the fundamentals for us right in a native soil. So we don't have to go add all these things out there as much, right? We can figure out what the few deficiencies are and adjust those and balance for those and straighten that soil out. In this case, we're starting basically with a sphagnum peat moss in this particular soil, and I hope to evolve these soil systems to more regenerative systems and not be using peat moss. That's a whole nother ecological discussion, so we'll leave that out for now for the point. But we are taking something like that, an artificial medium, and then we're trying to make all of those natural pieces present in it. the biology, the trace mineral nutrition, the macro mineral nutrition, all those little pieces that are supposed to be there in nature. We're trying to mimic that here in this grow environment. So, it's at the end of the day, it's not the same system, but we're doing our best to mimic that system. And in doing so, I think you can see what the results are here. It's pretty clear. And you'll see these results continue to amplify as these plants continue to grow, and you'll see tomatoes come on, and yeah, it's actually really super exciting. And super exciting to have the actual tools and technology to be able to do this well. And I know that I will learn a lot in this grow lab, and I'll look back on this in a year or two and be disappointed in myself at my performance here. Not disappointed. I'll see how much I've learned in the past couple of years. And that actually is one of the most inspiring things about regenerative agriculture, because the science and technology and the information that's coming out right now is massive. And that brings me to my next point. And I know I kind of tend to talk on, but like, really, we're at the precipice here, okay? We have the science of all the regenerative agriculture studies that have been done in the past 10 or 15 years. All of that science is coming together and proving out many of the hypotheses and, pieces that we've put together. It's proving it out on a microbiological scale that science is truly valid. Plants take bacteria up into their system. They take up protozoa. They take up fungi. It's really an incredible complex system. So we have all of that happening right now. At the same time, we have this tremendous technological boom happening. The technology we have today, we didn't have 10 years ago. Want to check on the environment? Not to mention plant sap analysis. We can literally analyze the sap of a plant much like we can analyze the blood of a human. Which brings me to my next point. We have a tremendous amount of tools with humans in that regard as well. You can get blood samples done, DNA tests done. If you know what to look for to tune your biological system, you can get it done. My friend John was just telling me today, the UFC fighters have their own system for that, where they monitor health and nutrition. If you're part of the UFC as a fighter, they do that for a service for you, and it can tremendously help your training. It can help you tune your training specifically to your body's metabolic and dynamic needs. So, all those pieces. Plus, as I mentioned a minute ago, we also have the power of the technology in our hands. Not just stuff like cell phones, but all of the pieces of technology that spin off from that. The ability to do science and broadcast video and share information on a level and scale, and research information on our own, independently from our own home or from our own phone, for nearly for free. You don't have to go to a library. You don't have to go to a special library to look at a special book. All this stuff is available online if you know where and how to look, and you're seeking information. If you're seeking knowledge, you can find it. If you're here on this channel, or here on my Instagram account, you found some of it. And if you look around at some of the other people that like, follow, and subscribe, and that I follow and like, you'll see there's a whole huge community of us here. And we've all been working in the background diligently to bring this forward. And now, all the pieces are lining up at the same time. So, all that technology is available to us. So now, what we get to do is take that science and that technology and all those core concepts and marry them together. And what you're going to see now is an explosion of health information and an explosion of knowledge. And it's going to be really interesting, because we also have right now emerging very quickly is what's being called Medicine 3.0. And that is basically understanding each person's needs nutritionally and medically, and addressing each person's needs on an individual basis. Just like when Dan Kittredge from Bionutrient Association talked about doing the testing with the bionutrient meter, the nutrient density meter, right? To be able to test each individual piece and see what it actually has. Well, now we're able to do that with human health. We're able to monitor sleep, nutrition, hormones, so many incredible things. We've made so many discoveries regarding DNA, epigenetics, mRNA. I mean, there is a tremendous amount of information coming out, and that's being applied to human health. Now, when you marry all three of those together, regenerative agriculture and all of the science and information around that and how that affects the rest of the globe as far as ecologically and everything else, plus the technology we have, plus medicine 3.0 emerging, I think what you're going to see in the next 5 years is something that's really groundbreaking, and I think you should join us on that journey as soon as you can, because it's going to be awesome. All right, I've rambled on a bit, but I feel like this is we're breaking through. We're breaking through the friction, and the brakes off, the e-brakes off, and we're rolling down the tracks, and we're picking up speed. And man, it's really exciting. So thank you to everyone who helped form this movement. Let's keep it rolling.
I mean, any one of these ways of assessing that a lot of people pay attention to don't connect to nutrition. What does connect to nutrition is the level of soil life. The level of life in the soil, the level of the function of the microbiome of the plant is what connects to the health, to the nutrient levels in the food. So now we're working on defining nutrient density. We're saying, okay, nutrients vary dramatically. We proved that. That variation connects to soil health. We proved that. Meters can be built that can test crops in real time. We've proved that. So, okay, the grand vision, like, can we save the world through, helping people eat better food?
Stuck in the water are always such a great example of how waves propagate and how resonance and frequencies work. If you slow that down, you can actually see just how precise the frequency is there, and you can actually see the standing waves. Just sort of share an interesting clip.